Bang, starting nice and sharp today. Welcome to another episode 24 of Q&Asa. And for my American friends, happy Thanksgiving. And for anybody else that celebrates it, I'm not saying that you're not allowed Thanksgiving if you're outside of America, but I don't know anybody else that really does that. If it's you though, happy Thanksgiving. This place is familiar. I have let myself and all of you down by reusing a previous background, so you may already know straight away what the game is. You have seen it before. The OST you may have heard before, but it's there, it's blaring. Before we get into the show though, before we get into this, a word from our sponsor. I can't remember what I'm doing. It's been a while. I must have missed a week of Q&Asa and I've forgotten all the buttons. There we go. It's Game On Daily. I've been gone for a week. Game On Daily has kept going just fine, and it's a brilliant website, and I hope you're all using it, and it's going to get better and better and better in the new year because we still have marvellous plans, things to give to you. Welcome along, Isla Patrick, KY, Kratos, and anybody else that comes. If you're here now, if you're here after the fact, leave me comments, give me topics. I'm relying on all of you good people to do the heavy lifting today because I don't know, it's Thanksgiving week in America. News is fairly slow. We've got a little bit of a Witcher 3 update to talk about, maybe a Callisto Protocol trailer. We've got some Game of the Year conjecture and things like that. I've heard some other people talking about like Activision Blizzard and Microsoft and Sony and stuff, so I'm going to take this opportunity to remind everyone, or anybody that's here for the first time and doesn't know, my stance on that is I don't give a shit. I still don't give a shit. I will never give a shit. When the deal is done, I probably won't give a shit. It's boring. So that's not a big topic for today, which means we're going to do lots of talking about games. Topic of the day: what are you going to do when you win Best New Gaming Podcast? Yeah, that was an unexpected little treat. So the Go Live Saturday show got nominated for a Best New Gaming Podcast Award, and the blurb for the prestigious award giving group, whose name I've forgotten, did say that they had thousands of nominees and selected 5 podcasts to put through to the final stages of it. So what a treat for everyone. It's unfortunately already been ripped away from us because I saw you, Patrick. I saw you replying to point out the source videos, so we've been disqualified, I would think. New-ish, Isla, new-ish. You're just going to get us disqualified even harder. We're still quite new. We're relatively new. There's podcasts that have been going for decades, or at least 1 decade. Anyway, Kratos, that's a very good question that we can leave open for the whole podcast. Has anyone got anything good in the Black Friday sales? Be it games, be it hardware, be it toiletries, I don't know. Anything that you've got. I say toiletries, they have to be like console, like Xbox soap or something. It has to be gaming related stuff, like a Final Fantasy shampoo or something. Anybody got anything good and exciting in the various Black Friday sales? I have a new toy, but it wasn't on sale, and I will show you that in a bit if I remember. Let's talk about games first though. So what have we all been playing? I'm very slowly working my way through God of War Ragnarok, and I will say, as always, you'll find no spoilers here, so don't be scared. But I am chipping away at God of War Ragnarok. I'm probably further behind than everybody else, so the idea that I could spoil it for anyone, the only people that I could spoil it for are the people that are waiting for that PC release in like a year or whatever. PlayStation players, I'm sure, have all finished it, but me, I'm not all that far into it, and I'm still not fully decided on how much I like it and how much I don't. It's got some like undeniable qualities and some undeniable gripes, I would say, as well, and I need to play more to see like which one becomes more prominent in my mind as it goes through. So in God of War Ragnarok, if you haven't played it yet, like Patrick, you haven't played it, that's fine, don't worry, there's no spoilers here, but the opening like half an hour to an hour really emphasizes the game's qualities. So it smashes like really well acted, like, I'm going to say endearing, but you're not necessarily supposed to like them, but endearing characters and quality cinematic work that is thrown at your face at quite a pace at the beginning. And that kind of slows down. It kind of has to slow down. They couldn't keep up the pace of that going through the game and still call it a game. But it's very, very good at the opening stages. Then you get into the game itself, and the level design irks me. And this is the bit where I say I need to get further into it and see whether this remains bothersome to me as I go through it. But every level, and this is the same in God of War 2018. So if you remember in God of War 2018, you get onto a big lake on a boat. But even at that point, when the world is open, it's not really open. It's siloed off into little like gameplay islands, as it were. Ragnarok follows a similar theme in that each of the kind of explorable areas when you're running around are relatively small, and they remind me a lot of like ancient JRPGs in terms of the way that the maps play out, because you have this this clear direction that you're supposed to follow, an objective that you're trying to reach, and you know that you've got that, and you know where you're going, and you know that every time you see a path that doesn't lead you towards your objective, there's going to be a treasure chest or something at the end of it. So you're forced to play the game by looking for the wrong direction the entire way through, which is like a funny little quirk of games that we've all come to know and love over 20 years, but it doesn't fit the cinematic vibe of God of War for me. So it's a bit weird. The game also has more treasure chests, more useless treasure chests than any game I've ever come across. You see all these shiny chests and they're clearly within reach, so you go and get them, and there's very rarely anything that you care about inside them, but there are so many. The game is punctuated by treasure chests. Like Outriders level design. Outriders is more thick, fast and furious on the pace of the action though. So Outriders everywhere you go has swarms of enemies. God of War is paced very differently. It punctuates combat with, I say puzzle solving, they're not particularly puzzly, but exploration, puzzles and combat are kind of delivered in equal measure through the game. Painful discourse, you are forgiven for being late. I normally start late. I started nice and prompt and sharp today, but welcome along. We're just talking a little bit about some games and some things people have bought on sale, although it seems nobody's picked up very much on you have some fancy chicken period. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Isla's picked up on the Black Friday sales and stuff, but that's what we're talking, what we've bought, what we're playing. You finished Somerville. So ACG recommended Somerville, not because it's necessarily brilliant, but because it's a nice atmospheric like vibe to just play through for a few hours. I haven't done it yet. I will. It's on the list behind the game that begins with S that Jordan keeps recommending to me. And I've already forgotten the name of it, but I will get to all of these games. I'm going to get to all the thousands of games in my backlog. But on Ragnarok, the combat itself, I do actually like quite a lot when it's going. It's it fits a nice little slot between, you've got your hack and slash kind of Devil May Cry, swipey swipe button mash combat, and you've got your like Souls, Elden Ring, very deliberate, tactful, slow-paced combat. God of War sits in the right place for me personally, to a style I prefer, because it is fast and responsive, but also does like rely on all your parries and timing and things like that. So I'm enjoying the combat in God of War when it happens. I'm not enjoying the puzzles. I'm mixed on the exploration, and it really is one where my mind isn't made up. So I'm not talking down on it. It could be that once I've put in my like 20, 40 hours, whatever it takes to finish this game, maybe the qualities will shine through more strongly than the things that I dislike. But time will tell. Time will tell. Kratos, you're playing loads of stuff. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, slowly grinding on Guardians of the Galaxy and Sackboy's Big Adventure. So Modern Warfare 2 is just, it's not for me. Are you doing the multiplayer on Modern Warfare 2, or are you doing the campaign? Guardians of the Galaxy isn't grindy, but that I take it from that you're not necessarily enjoying it as much as I did. If it feels grindy, I guess that suggests you're pushing through it without necessarily having loads of fun. Sackboy's Big Adventure I haven't played. Cole Eastwood talks about it fondly, but I don't generally touch 3D platformers apart from Psychonauts 2. Unless someone can convince me that that one's brilliant, I'm not likely to get to it anytime soon. You got overpriced eggs because of the egg crisis. There's an egg crisis. Is there an egg crisis like in England? Because like I've got loads of eggs in the fridge. I could be very wealthy, which is useful because I've spent too much money today. Oh, awesome. So see you later, everyone. I'm going to market to sell my eggs. You don't tell. I'm going to be rich. Rich! Patrick, yes, I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So you can tie that back to God of War in terms of the density of scripting in Guardians of the Galaxy. Everywhere you go and everything you do has canned voice lines and scripting ready to go. But in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's mood and humour. Whereas in God of War, it's usually telling you what you're supposed to be doing, as well as a bit of mood. But yeah, I liked Guardians of the Galaxy a lot, despite the fact that the combat in it was fairly mediocre. Lots of elements of it were fairly mediocre, but the game was much greater than the sum of its parts. For me, anyway. For me. I know some people really didn't get past the combat and stuff like that, but or how linear it is, but I like it. I like Guardians of the Galaxy. What else have I been playing? So another one that some people have been considering for their Game of the Year awards, or raging that it's not been selected in some of the big ones, or whatever else, is I don't know how much eggs normally cost, Patrick. Like, is $5 good for 18 eggs? Especially not. Oh, it's very confusing. I've been sidetracked by egg drama. Vampire Survivors. Who's played that? Let's talk about Vampire Survivors, because that's like, it's interesting in its own right, but it also like is a thorn in the side of convention for Game of the Years and reviews and things like that. It is a very good example of how it's very tricky to put different games side by side and try and say which one's better. Do we have Vampire Survivors fans here today? Guardians is good, same with Sackboy. This can play about an hour when you do. Because you run out of time, or because that's all you can kind of stomach of it? That one in one go. Isla, you are welcome to attempt to mug me for my eggs, but I think we'd do better selling them. You don't even like eggs, probably, maybe. I don't know. Do you like eggs? It's a very good mobile game with all that pay to win bullshit. Vampire Survivors doesn't let you pay to win, does it? Are there even microtransactions in it? I get that you've got the progression mechanics in there where you save up your money to get yourself more powerful. Without, you had me very confused. You had me very confused indeed, because that would have taken a lot away from the game if you could like buy the gold and stuff. See, the very first time that I played it, I'd seen, even before it came to Xbox, I'd seen like a lot of hype around this title. People saying that it was way more than first appearances would have you believe. And I fired it up on the Xbox. And it starts you with the very first character that has the whip power up. And I'm assuming most people here have at least tried Vampire Survivors, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if not, Vampire Survivors, I should bring up a trailer. We've not had a trailer for a long time. I'm doing that. But Vampire Survivors is a horrible looking 2D pixel mess, which I don't think is insulting. I think it's supposed to look horrible, so that's fine. But it all looks entirely basic. But what really shocks you when you start it is how simplistic it is to control and do anything. Vampire Survivors, does it even have a trailer? Would they bother making a trailer for that game? Do they even have a channel, these Poncle people that make it? Vampire Survivors, Poncle. They have a channel. They have a launch trailer. Here we go. Here's a launch trailer. No sound, but it would do. So this is Vampire Survivors. It looks like this. It plays even more basic than it looks. So you only have movement. You move the character around with the left thumbstick in any direction, and all of the attacks are on timers. So everything that you see hurting the enemies is automatic on a cooldown. And it just happens. It's a weird game. And the first time I played it, the first character that you have, the power-up that they have is called a whip. And it just fires a horrible little blur to one side every like second or something. I did the first run, and I did reasonably well. It lasted quite a long time. I got quite a lot of power-ups. But I couldn't get over, like, it just seemed... I don't know, I wasn't seeing it. I wasn't seeing what people liked. But then for some reason, because I had a decent run of it, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a second run. I'm going to see what happens with the power-ups and just like see what unlocks, because it's clearly a roguelike game. And roguelike games, I like to just go through a few times to understand how the mechanics are going to layer on top of each other as you go. And weirdly enough, in Vampire Survivors, they barely layer at all. What you get at the start is basically what you get throughout. But it does something very similar to Hades, in that you play it and you burn brightly for a length of time. In Hades, you'd have all of these different builds and every run would be different, but you were capable of being so powerful for a short amount of time before the run was over, and then you felt like doing it again because being powerful is fun. Vampire Survivors has that going for it. You burn brightly, you get a build that's amazing, destroy everything, but it only takes 30 minutes, and then you go, oh, I could do one more of those. I could do one more of those, see what kind of power-ups I get, see what kind of build I end up with. AJH, that's a funny one actually, the Phil Spencer build. I'll come on to that. I got a mini story. It's not much of a story. But the answer is no, I definitely didn't. So, yeah, so Vampire Survivors. And I played it quite a lot. I got to the point where, again, it's not really a game you can spoil very hard. There are things you could potentially spoil, I suppose. But I got past the 5 main stages. I say I got past them, I mean I hit the 30-minute mark and got the stage complete pop-up. I unlocked all of the bonus stages. And then I was kind of bored of it. And the game does have a bit more going, so I did the... broke my own rules, as it were. I didn't, but I looked up some details of what else is in the game to figure out if the bonus levels were worth doing or if they're not. Because I started a bonus level, and about 15 minutes into this bonus level, it took me onto a secret level. And I was like, what? I'm going to do one last thing before quitting this game. I'm going to look up this secret level and see what the point of it is and why I am here. I looked it up, and it turns out that the secret level is basically the key to all the progression in the game going forwards from that point. But I can't play games after looking at a guide. It's cheating, so I can't touch Vampire Survivors anymore. I'm self-banned from it. That's my punishment for looking up details on the internet. Cannot be cheating, can't live with the shame. So that was the end of my Vampire Survivors. AJH, on your question though, the Phil Spencer build, you may have heard Gaz talking about it, and Colt, when they were on GotY, because Colt he was in a party chat with Phil Spencer, and Phil Spencer put him onto a build that Colt likes to rave about, and Colt taught Gaz this build. So Gaz was all hyped on this garlic-based Phil Spencer build, they call it. And I don't use garlic myself, and I was looking at this, and I said to Gaz, I called him out on GotY, I said, like, I don't understand how you're so terrible at this game. And as he's just been in Thailand for 2 weeks, I'm assuming everyone here knows, but Gaz is the other half of Game On Daily that is very different to me. But we were having a chat on Sunday to talk about all of this Game On Daily platform stuff, the shows that we've got planned, all of these things like that. And that was what we were supposed to talk about. But we ended up talking about Vampire Survivors instead, and how terrible he is. And he streamed his playthrough on Discord, where I refused. I built his character for him, basically. Told him what to go for, told him that he's not allowed to do this Phil Spencer build. And he used a build that I like and slaughtered everything, and now understands that essentially in Vampire Survivors you can use any damn build you want. There's not like you must have garlic, it's better than everything else. There are so many builds that are so effective. One of the builds that I like on it is actually dagger focused. So one of the weapons that you get in Vampire Survivors is a simple one that just throws a dagger in front of you on an interval, like timed as it is. And the more of it you collect, the more daggers you throw in, the more often, and all the rest of it, and more damage they do. But the daggers are the one item in the game that you can really control the direction of. So if you have a dagger based build, then you can clear space and cut through crowds, which is really useful in Vampire Survivors. It's not all lies, Gaz. It's absolutely true, and you know it, and you love your daggers now, and you've played it every day since, and you pick daggers. Painful Discourse, you like the whip and the Song of Mana. See, I don't have the Song of Mana. The whip, once you upgrade it for a bit of health leeching, gets very powerful. It does, it does. And that's Vampire Survivors, so everyone's playing that, right? Garlic is for scrubs. Painful Discourse. Elaborate on your objection to garlic. Why do you hate it so? I'm not even disagreeing with you. But I can do a garlic build. Garlic works. The Santa Water is my favourite build. Like, the basis of my favourite builds. Because I get a good upgraded Santa Water and you can make a deadly floor blanket that everything gets nuked by. I've seen a lot of people do very well with the pigeon things. You don't hate it, but it's a crutch. Fair enough. Fair enough. Garlic is for bread, soup and chicken. Exactly. Pussy the Clown, welcome along, welcome along. Who's doing Thanksgiving today, by the way? Are any of you Thanksgiving types? American or otherwise? I'm assuming not. I'm assuming if you are, then you're doing things with your like family or whatever else at the moment, but not everyone has that opportunity, so if it is you, happy Thanksgiving. If it is not you, happy Thursday. I don't really have many topics today because I hate everything. I don't hate everything. Let's talk about The Witcher. You thought Thanksgiving came and went. No, it's today. It is today as far as I know, unless Google has lied to me, which it doesn't really do. Google's truth. You'll be eating dinner in like 30 or so. Dinner being like the whole Christmas turkey, but not at Christmas. Black Friday is tomorrow. Black Friday is so over here because we don't have Thanksgiving. Black Friday is this entire week. Very misleading. Which reminds me, thing that I've got. So, hopefully, you've all had a look at the sales in your various console storefronts and Steam and all the rest of it. I decided, no, I don't do pancake games anymore. So I got elaborate treat for, oh, I nearly dropped it. Elaborate treat for me. Very expensive. Excessively so. Still in its box. Very reflective box. You can see my room around me if you like. Because I really enjoy virtual reality. It is the MetaQuest Pro. Still in its box. I'm going to do an unboxing video where I open it with my teeth. I'm not doing an unboxing video. I hate unboxing videos. But yes, it is fancy. There is a video coming that explains a bit about what it is. A video recorded before I actually owned it, but it'll still be thoroughly accurate and things. It's overly expensive because it's made for business purposes and all the rest of it, but it just happens to be like the best headset for me anyway, because I can use it with my PC for some wireless virtual reality with perfect tracking and wonderful lenses, which is all that I want right now. So I'm going to wear that. I'm going to run around on my treadmill. My YouTube channel, this channel right here, is going to go back to featuring a lot more VR things. Because when I'm having fun, the content's better, and I have a lot of fun in VR. Smash the like button, or press it gently. It's your computer, phone, whatever you're watching on. You take care of the like button in a way that suits the hardware. I will appreciate it regardless. Yeah. So I'm gonna, don't know when I'm gonna get to set it up, but I'm very likely to experiment with some blade and sorcery. Touched it tenderly, that's the way to go. Did I get a sweat headband for it this time? KY, I no longer sweat. I am cured. So it will be fine. But I did get accidental damage insurance on it, in case I do in fact still sweat. Funnily enough, so I got it from Argos, and their falls, their accidental damage insurance is they class it as a gaming device. So they've priced it up, assuming I'm going to treat it like I would an Xbox or something. Like there's not much chance that it's actually going to get broken. The fools! I do not use it like I use my Xbox. So that was worthwhile getting it covered. I can sweat and smash it, and then get it replaced. Which is good because it's a pretty expensive thing. I also so I'm going to have to continue with the day job at the dog shoe making factory to save up and get a PSVR 2 as well, because I did get the pre-order thing for that. So I am all in VR nerd. But we'll be doing a lot of that. Which isn't to say that I'm going to stop with the pancake games. They will carry on as well, because I have all the time in the world to play everything. My backlog is thousands and thousands of games long. So as I was saying though, let's have a look at... Am I going to need sound for this? No, we're going to look at The Witcher. We're going to look at the trailer. I've not actually seen it yet. So earlier this week, CD Projekt Red showed the enhanced edition, or the next gen update, or whatever they're calling it, for The Witcher 3, which adds some ray tracing. And I've got no idea what else it adds because I've not watched it yet. So let's have a look at what it's got. I have it on... Should we do there? Or should we do big? No, we'll go big. We'll go big for The Witcher. And you can have sound. Do I give you sound? Nah, fuck you. I don't have sound, so you don't have sound. We're going to keep the OST running, which nobody's identified yet as it goes. So, in front of us right now, we have The Witcher 3. It looks exactly as I remember it. Yep, that's The Witcher 3, alright. But apparently it's enhanced. I haven't played it since it came out. Aha, them reflections, that's how you know. That's how you know. This is available in the middle of December. It is still a brilliant game, and I intend to play it. Or in VR. No, not in VR. Or maybe in VR. We'll see. We'll see what the modding community can come up with. But the Witcher update is free. Yes, if you already have the game on whatever. Reflections and textures have been ramped up. So this is true, actually. I can see that. So the game did have relatively... It was always like a fairly beautiful game, but the textures didn't look as good as most of the ones in here. I do remember it being a little bit, even on the PC, not as crisp as this. So that's encouraging. So they've not made any changes to gameplay or anything, as far as we're aware. Not tweaked the combat or... Oh, I want to play. I actually, being a massive fraud that I am, I have never finished the DLC packs for it. So, Heart of Stone and Blood and Truth, whatever they were called, which are supposed to be at least as good as the main game in terms of quality of content. So that is my excuse for playing the free next gen update, December the 14th, 20. I'm not going to play it on December the 14th. Or am I? I don't know. I don't know. We could do a community game night Among Us VR. Patrick, do you have access to virtual reality? Who here has any kind of VR? I'm not sure about the ASMR stream. Boobram or not. Patrick, you got a Quest 2. So when you say Among Us VR, are you thinking Quest version, or is Among Us cross-platform? Labo VR definitely counts. If you've got it, you must confess. Who's the Clown has the first quest, so I think that'll run Among Us, won't it? I've never played Pancake Among Us. You have the Vive, which is why I asked about the cross-platform. So in terms of me being able to record it and stream it, it's much easier on the PC version, the Steam version. But it probably is cross-platform. From what you've seen, they've pretty much reduced... Yeah, I'm not saying that word, it's a trick word. Can you play? I don't know the answer. But if it is cross-platform... across PC and Quest, then that'll make it easier to get a group. Oh, I know what it... Yeah, AGH, I call it blurring, that's fine. That's fine. I understand it, I just don't like the word. Because I will mispronounce it. So I've got like 3 different versions of it in my head. You can run it on Steam through your PC. Yes, Patrick. Like, I should think so. If you've got your... either your link cable or your Air Link set up, then absolutely. But it would be easier if we didn't need to make you do that. So if the Quest version and the Steam version are entirely cross-platform, then we can all play together and invite people along. without so much worry about versions, because personally I'd rather play it on the PC version. I don't think many people have PC VR though. I should think we'll find more people with a Quest. And obviously I have a Quest. That was a Quest that I held up of some variety, so I can play it either way. But I want to be able to include everybody. And I want to win. Or I'm not recording it. Like, if I don't win, recording deleted. I've never played Among Us, but I assume it's highly competitive. So, Witcher, I have no questions apart from the obvious one. Like, who's playing it and what platform are you playing it on when this enhanced edition comes out? 'Cause it was fun, and it will be again. What else have we got? Let's do the obvious talk while we're here, because like I say, I think today is going to genuinely, and I say this every week, but I think today is genuinely going to be a relatively short one, which I blame on my enthusiasm to get that headset out of the box, and also that there just aren't that many topics and things. Witcher is cross-save, so you're going to switch from the PlayStation 5 to the Xbox Series X. KY, explain yourself. You mean you're going to try and play it on both and just see, like, do your own little tech comparisons? Because you already have The Witcher on PlayStation and Xbox. Bruce the Clown, you're going to start it again for the umpteenth time. When you start it, do you normally finish it? Or is it like me in Skyrim, where I start it again, go on adventures, and never actually make any progress whatsoever? Painful Discourse, you're absolutely right on the soundtrack. Yom. Whatever that site is, I've missed something. You still haven't finished the last DLC, so you may just play through that. It's quite difficult to go back and pick up games at that point. I think The Witcher lets you start, it lets you build a character ready for the DLC, doesn't it? If you launch The Witcher 3 today, like the current version, and you just want to play the DLC, you can auto level Geralt to the right level for it. But so I assume you can still do that in the enhanced one. But now I plan to do, I can't remember, it's like I played it through once, and The Witcher 3 is a long game and I struggle with long games, so it's sort of a miracle that I got through it, because I did it in 3 stints. I played, like, I don't know, 15-20 hours of it and fell off of it like I do most games that are that long, but only for a few weeks, and then I went back to it after a break, did another stint for like 20 hours or so and fell off of it again, and then picked it up a third time and kind of powered through to the end. And it's pretty rare that I go back to games in that sense. I always have these good intentions, like Ghost of Tsushima. I've not finished that, it was too long, I fell off of it. When it introduced chapter 2, I was just like, what the fuck are you doing to me? I can't do a chapter 2, I've been playing this for half my life. And I stopped it and haven't gone back yet. The Witcher 3 managed to pull me back in, which is the sign of a good long game. Kratos, you bought The Witcher 3, but you never opened the game still to this day. I accidentally bought 2 copies of The Witcher 3. I pre-ordered. The pre-order for The Witcher 3, this is ridiculous, was £11.50. £11.50. Back in the days when grey market sites were really good on the PC space, like too good, and it's probably really bad for CD Projekt Red that I got it in this manner, but I was young and naive. Yeah, youngish. Maybe I'm equally naive now, I don't know. But I got it, and I was so enthusiastic by the £11.50 price that I added it to the basket twice by accident and checked out without looking. So that counts for something. We could talk about what announcements or trailers that we think we'll get at the Game Awards. Good. You could. All of you could. What are we going to see at the Game Awards? And while we're there, let's talk about... So really speculative, and hopefully if you're here and you're watching and you've got access to chat, how would you score if you were to do a 1 to 10 review? And I know that's a horrible question because scored reviews are a pain in the arse anyway, but how would you score Vampire Survivors? Because I find that game challenges review systems in a good way. Buy 2, get 1, get exactly KY. but it was for £11.50, so it was still a good deal. Mass Effect 4 or the new Dragon Age, we haven't seen much of either of those, have we? Like little teasers of both. Do EA normally show up for the Game Awards though? Vampire Survivors is a fun out of fun score. No, Patrick, you got to play the game. You got to give it a review score. Yes, ACG is smart for adjusting it, just as the likes of Eurogamer got rid of scores as well, but some people still like them and they still hold value. Why? No, you're all cheating. You're all cheat. Flavor of the month is a fair point as well, Boozy the Clown. There is an element of hyperbole around it. People calling it Game of the Year. Like, I had a bit of fun with it. I understand. For me, it's actually like really significant because off the back of playing Vampire Survivors, I've decided, hang on a minute, I can do that. And I started to learn like Unity and stuff like that. So for me, it might turn out that Vampire Survivors is like a really pivotal moment that matters a lot in the course of my like passions and life. But to hold it up against God of War is an unfair example. Let's say Halo Infinite. How would you hold up Vampire Survivors against Halo Infinite? Because Halo Infinite got slated for what it did to the Halo story for the time. Well, I say it got slated. It had a lot of positive reviews, but it also got slated in certain quarters for what it did to the story, for how repetitive the landscape was, for I didn't like the fact that the landscape was so static that you couldn't damage anything. And then you look at a game like Vampire Survivors and you could equally well apply all of this and more to the game. Like, your character doesn't even have collision detection with the enemies. It's so basic in a sense. But that's it, Painful Discourse. Like, some people would really like the Halo gameplay, but that wouldn't be accepted as praise in a lot of circles. You'd look at that and say, well, yeah, it's fun, but look at all of these flaws. And then you look at a game like Vampire Survivors that is obviously not trying to do what Halo does and not trying to compete on that level. But how do you side by side review those two games? How can you say in good faith that Vampire Survivors is doing more than Halo Infinite? Because it isn't. It clearly isn't. But it does have something going for it. It has that loop. It has that hook. It has that burning brightly and playing one more time. And a lot of people do love it. So how do you quantify that in a review system? How is there any kind of framework that can possibly cater to both types of games and make any sense at all? There isn't. You can't objectively compare those two in that way, as far as I can tell. You're going to forgive Halo for its fundamental gameplay locked down to a T, but yes, content-wise it was repetitive. So I liked Halo AJH when it came out. I liked it a lot, despite recognizing certain flaws. I didn't particularly like the open world at all. I very much felt that it was held back by being an Xbox One game. You could not damage anything. You could drive a tank into a tree stump and the tree stump would go like, what a silly tank, and just sit there. And it was a bit creaky. Vampire Survivors is brilliant by sidestepping all of the AAA problems and expectations. This is true, Painful Discourse. I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with Vampire Survivors. I'm just suggesting that it challenges review systems. Like, the whole concept of a scored game out of 10, of like pretending that there's anything objective about it. Because you get like magazines that would divide a review up into like gameplay, replayability, sound, graphics, and all of this kind of thing, and then try and pull an average like out of it, which is an admirable effort to try and make review scores have a set fair criteria. But it doesn't work. Games are too broad and too diverse, and you couldn't run Vampire Survivors through a framework like that and give it like, it would come out with a low score. It just would, especially if you have one that's like includes like multiplayer as one of the scored areas and things like that. You just either you have a framework and you accept the fact that some good games are going to score really low, or you stop pretending that there's a framework and that your reviews are consistent. I'm not sure what the right answer is there. Looks like Gauntlet on the spectrum out of 10. Yes. Boozy, Are you perchance not a big fan of Vampire Survivors? I think, particularly around Twitter, the hyperbole around it is a little strong. Like, I had some fun with it, but people yelling that it's the best game of the year are, I don't know, trying a little hard for my tastes. You think nowadays putting a score on a game makes less and less sense? Yeah. Yeah. You like metrics? Yeah. So, but when you say you like metrics though, Ilo, like how would you handle reviewing games that are like not comparable in that sense? Would you be brutal and like come up with a consistent framework for reviews and just give a game like Vampire Survivors a really low score despite people loving it? You haven't played it, so Boozy the Clown, if you like... I sound silly saying this. I'm going to say if you like Hades, then you should play it. I will also say categorically, so I really, really like Hades. And I absolutely wouldn't say that Vampire Survivors is anywhere near the same level as Hades. It has that one quality that's similar, where you burn bright, play again. It's got the same kind of hook that makes you want to go again and just do that short burst of fun. But Hades is like immaculate in so many senses that Vampire Survivors isn't. So graphics 0. So AJH though, when you break it down to its fundamentals and you're going graphics 0, like sound reasonable, gameplay 8, multiplayer 0, do you then take those and average them out to give you a review score at the end of it? You would like to find the right number of categories factors to make games comparable to a reasonable extent. It would be very difficult though, because I don't know where Vampire Survivors in particular, this is why I like it as an example. It's very hard to award points in many categories without like you could say, oh, you love the pixel art and all the rest of it, to try and be generous and give it points where it doesn't necessarily deserve them. But if you were treating that game fairly in a considered and consistent system, it's hard to see where its points would come from. And yet it is a good game that I played quite a lot. This was bearing in mind this was shortly after God of War Ragnarok came out, so there were times where I'm like, oh, I could sit and play God of War Ragnarok, but actually I'm going to play Vampire Survivors instead because the hooks were pretty good, like. And plus it takes up to half an hour, whereas God of War needs a bit more time and attention. And yes, I don't have the answer to what makes sense for reviews and what doesn't, but I don't know, I say things and hope that people think about them, because that's my thing. I don't know. It's what I do. So basically, you play games on easy and you're working 13-hour shifts until Christmas. You play Flight Sim and Forza almost exclusively. Does Flight Sim need an easy mode? I've never played Flight Sim. It's like one of the only things that Microsoft will allow me to play in VR, so maybe I should give it a go, but... And Forza, how does difficulty work in Forza? It keeps on challenging you to raise it, doesn't it? It's like, oh, you're winning too easily, you should increase the difficulty. I'm so mad that I can't play Forza in VR though. Such a good racing game that Microsoft won't let me play the way I want to. Bastards. So, what else did we have? Let's have a little flick through. You can see my flick through on this because I don't know what I'm doing. Little flick through the PlayStation channel and the Xbox channel to see what's going on with these big consoles in terms of trailers. Oh no, it must be nothing. Must be nothing because they've categorized it differently to normal. Usually, when I go onto the PlayStation or the Xbox channel, the top row of it is like things that are interesting, trailers that have released this week and stuff like that. But no, they've gone, fuck it. Fuck it, let's just do God of War documentaries. The first two rows, right? Video. Marsupilami, Hoob Adventure, the Hidden World update. No, you're alright. Train Life, a railway simulator. No, you were right. Samurai Maiden character trailer. I'll watch the little preview of that. I'm going to bring that up. I don't think it necessarily looks great, but let's have a little look here. This is what's going on in the world of PlayStation, and we'll do Xbox in a minute. Patrick, enjoy your dinner. Take some leftovers. I could do that. I could do that. Oh, look, it's a slashy game. Okay, that's enough Samurai, whatever it is. I'm going to put this on the not intending to buy list. Because, I don't know. I can't even give you a reason. It's just not on my list to buy. So, that was a game. Let's see what's next. Is there anything thrillingly exciting? Have any of you got... So, coming out this year, we've still got High on Life. We've still got... I think Marvel's Midnight Suns was... Is it still December or did it get delayed? That might still be this year. I want that one. We've got Callisto Protocol. What else is still coming this year? The White Walker Winterfell episode of Game of Thrones. Vampire Survivors in VR. Well. Yeah. Is Harry Pothead? So Harry Potter is February, I think. It got delayed to next year. And that makes a little difference to me because I don't care for Harry Potter or that entire universe, so that game can pass me by. Unless it has an amazing VR version. Which it won't, so that game can pass me by. Oh, Crisis Core comes out this year. Crisis Core is a bit of a get. Never actually played the original Crisis Core despite being like a massive Final Fantasy VII fan. So Crisis Core Reunion is one that I should definitely play. But the fact that they're releasing it on Xbox is a bit of a piss take. That they'll let you play this like side story of Final Fantasy but not let you play Final Fantasy. And this doesn't look stunning HD graphics. No, it looks like crap. Come on, admit it, that's the Nintendo version. So, anyway, I still want it. Embrace my British culture. No, not Harry Potter. And I'll tell you why. Chocolate frogs. That's my reason. I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong because I'm not a big fan, but I have seen all the Harry Potter films. I'm pretty sure there is a part of the film where they have a bag of chocolate frogs that climb out the bag and jump around the floor of a train. Am I right? Is that a thing from Harry Potter? So, yes, they do. So you're going to tell me, like, it's fantastic and whimsical, but for me, I really like solid, consistent world building that makes sense. Chocolate frogs that get out of a bag and crawl around a train in a world of magic. One, is unhygienic. Two, someone made them. Like, you're a fucking wizard, goblin, elf, magic character of some variety, and you spent your talents making unhygienic frogs. And three, they're possibly sentient and just being eaten, like, while still alive. The whole thing is bullshit. This is just chocolate frogs, but, like, it's the world. Everything about it is that level of bullshit. And it's not... Whimsy isn't an excuse for bad writing. Oh, it's so silly and whimsical. It's like the mind of a child. No, it's fucking stupid. And I'm not playing your game or reading your books or watching your films or giving you any credit ever. Never mind all the other stuff that people hate J.K. Rowling for. Chocolate frogs. Wait. No. No, you don't get bullshit like that in the good stories. There's not like a secret branch of the Covenant in Halo that, like, makes skipping ropes for ants. Some random bullshit like that. No, because it's got well-written lore, or it used to have once upon a time. Lord of the Rings over Harry Potter, absolutely. Of course, Lord of the Rings doesn't have nonsense like that. Like, books maybe a little bit, but no, Lord of the Rings is properly written. I'll take it. Well thought out. But no, not Harry Potter. Can't do it. I got upset. So the very first film, which is supposed to be aimed like more at children or whatever, but they get to the end of it and like Dumbledore comes up and he's like, "Oh, Harry, do you know how you defeated the terrible evil wizard or whatever? You've got love hands because your parents loved you very much." Fuck off. Fuck off with your chocolate frogs, you stupid Dumbledore. So no, not interested in the game. Anyway, that wasn't the topic for today. What else was there? Let's get back to our trailers. So PlayStation had Crisis Core on their channel, and they've got, I don't know, I've lost my mind. Trifox, that looks terrible. Sorry, developers of Trifox, I hope that your game is really good. Maybe it's not terrible. I feel bad now, so I'm going to put the trailer on. Massive, like, insta-guilt, because imagine making a game and having someone see the name of it and say, that looks terrible. It would be devastating. So, here is Trifox. Go on, Trifox, show me something good. Yeah, it might be okay. There's not like a shortage of isometric. It looks kind of slow. And he has a nice hammer and an electric whippy thing. So that's Trifox. Not high on my list, but good job, person that made it, people that made it, you know, games. Pokemon. So, Isla, it's not... Yeah, tell me about Pokemon. Has anybody here... I know Isla does, but does anybody else have the Pokemon Scarlet or Violet? Has anyone experienced the legendary jank that is making more people realise that the Switch is a bad console? Game Wars, yeah, Boozy the Clown, you've reminded me that was what we were going to talk about, wasn't it? Shows like trailers and things that might come up in the fun part of the Game Awards. So not the awards part, but the trailers and show part. So keep your suggestions coming on that while we talk about Pokemon. So Isla, you played it for like 20 minutes so far and it's 98% bugs. That's a lot of bugs. And it's not the Switch's fault. So the game is badly made. So people put it down to both though. Like there's big performance issues, but there are definitely games that look better on the Switch as well. Fire Emblem Engage looks a lot better. It's like not out yet, but coming soon. Xenoblade, Breath of the Wild, games like that outperform the Pokemon game by a fair distance. But it's also all kinds of buggy. So what kind of bugs have you had? It's 98% bugs. Maybe I should ask you what kind of like solid gameplay you've had, but no, what kind of bugs? Your arm disappeared during a dialogue pseudo cutscene thing. Well, I didn't expect that. Pokemon fans are foolish for buying TAT each year. Pokemon fans. But so there's a thing. So should what are they called? Game Freak. Should they have just like reskinned Pokemon like they always do and like made less changes? Would the Pokemon fans have been happier to get the same game again? Or is it good that they at least tried to get out of their comfort zone even though they fucked it up? Your camera got stuck on something for a bit and you couldn't see yourself. The camera doesn't follow you properly. So that's back to like original PlayStation 1/2 original Xbox days where camera work was really dubious on a game-by-game basis, where the industry hadn't quite figured out how to handle being near obstacles or having things between the character and the camera. Cameras have got a lot better in most engines, but you don't mind the bugs if the game works enough to play. But this one, are you going to keep playing it? You going to wait for a few patches, or you're going to persist and see how it goes? Of course you're going to play it. No, 98% bugs, which suggests you could play it a bit later, like give it a month or two. See if they can fix some things. Yeah. They need a 2-year cycle. No, AJH, they need to kill the franchise forever. No, they don't need to do that. I'm not an arse. I know people do like it. You get one each and do some Pokemon trading. That's a handy arrangement. I get no copies and I don't want any Pokemon. Ash took 25 years to be the very best. See if you can do it in a shorter time. Surely you do it like every game, don't you? You played Sword and Shield. Buy 2 get 1 game. Exactly, KY, and these were more than £11.50, so I'm not last place today. Do you ever fight Ash? Mm. Good point though, if he's the best, then I guess it's impossible for the player to unless you can slaughter him. £105. I mean, I've got a Quest Pro, so I can't criticise. Ash isn't in the game, so you're doomed to second place no matter how much you play. There is no being the best in Pokemon. You can collect them all, you can level them all up, you can evolve them, you can pet them, or I don't really know what you can do in Pokemon, but you'll never be the best. What a sad tale. Game Awards. Pokemon's not there, but what's going to be announced? So we always get a little something from old Hideo Kojima. Is it going to be a new podcast format, or availability and like a different platform for his podcast, or are we going to see some of Overdrive, or are we going to see some of whatever he's doing with Xbox, or are those the same thing? What are we going to see from Hideo Kojima at the Game Awards? He's always there, right? This topic made you burn your food. Sorry. Overdrive you think is correct. So you think that Overdrive is the cloud native Xboxy thing? I thought Overdrive looked more console-y, like it was going to be a normal as he gets kind of game, and the Xbox One might be different. Might not have a name just yet, but I don't know. What he said, I mean, there could be multiple projects in the work. He's definitely got multiple things in the work, but what we know of the Xbox One, supposedly their like letter of intent or whatever was all signed around the cloud native thing. Whether the relationship comes with normal games as well, maybe not. I'm not sure that Overdrive is the cloud native one, but I could be wrong. Can't give Xbox conference, you're working with Xbox, and that's it. And then months later show what he's doing for PlayStation. Oh, but he can, of course he can. He can do whatever he wants, and Xbox aren't going to be like, no, sod you, Hideo, we don't want you working with us. He can, but it's a dick move. Well, in that time PlayStation have also talked up their relationship with him more than once. Herman Holst mentions him every now and again as a partner. There's been lots of talk that there's either a sequel or a pseudo sequel to Death Stranding in the works, which is almost certainly still a PlayStation thing. Which one we see first between Xbox and PlayStation? I kind of expect we'll see his PlayStation project first. I think his Xbox One is more ambitious and therefore further away, because the whole cloud native thing, like, it's new. There's not games that do that at the moment, really. So hopefully, anyway, I hope it's a big ambitious project and he can get his Death Stranding 2, whatever it's going to be, out of the way in the meantime. I'm happy enough with that. Don't care for Death Stranding, not planning to play a sequel to it, but I'm not in a rush for his Xbox One either. If he's doing something new and fancy, that's more exciting. What else? Who has good ties? Who normally shows up for Jeff Keighley? From Software normally do, so I guess the Elden Ring DLC we haven't seen yet, have we? Fair chance that will turn up. And And I don't know, some other stuff. Nobody else has given me any shouts yet. What are you thinking? What we're going to see? We had the BioWare Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect speculation. I really can't remember if EA show up for that event or not. But both of those games are due showing us a little more. Some Hollywood director will... Oh, do you think we're going to have another cut to The Rock in his garage trying to sell his energy drink for some reason? Right before the Kojima's podcast is now available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify or something. You'd like to see more details on the finals and Nightingale. So the finals, absolutely. That's the one with all the destruction, isn't it? The like first person Smash TV destruction everywhere. Looked really impressive. I would also like to see it. What is Nightingale? You're gonna have to jog my memory on that one because I can't remember. What is Nightingale? I also want to see it, whatever it is, except it sounds kind of stealthy, so I'm not sure. YouTube Nightingale? Oh, I suppose I could. I suppose I'm going to go Nightingale game. I can't type. Right, Nightingale is looking to be the best survival game of 2023. Who makes it? I want the official trailer, not a trailer with a lame watermark. Play Nightingale. Let's go for that. That might be official. Official gameplay trailer. So it showed at Summer Game Fest, so it's a good shout as a likely one. Oh, I remember this trailer. I remember this trailer. I'm going to watch it again anyway, intently. No, picking berries. It looks so good, and then you pick berries. Do you play any survival games at the moment? It's the best hope for me. I don't know if Blizzard are still good anymore, but you know the way that by reputation Blizzard would take a genre that's just like this, that's not very refined, that has like a really strong following but isn't necessarily that accessible. They take a genre like that and they'd make a Warcraft out of it, or a, you know, like a really polished, more accessible version of the genre, a World of Warcraft, StarCraft kind of thing, that just like smooths the edges and tries to keep the good bits. And Blizzard used to be amazing at doing this, and I don't trust that they're amazing at doing it anymore, but they are making a survival game. And I think if somebody did a survival game and managed to give it that little treatment where it just has less picking berries and manages to just capture the good bits, then I might love it. This one's quite pretty, but it is a survival game. I don't want to pick berries. You want to see more about Plucky Squire? Plucky Squire, I can't remember who makes it, but it looked really good already, didn't it? That looked, so what we saw of Plucky Squire at the time looked all sorts of polished as well. Like, I know it was just a trailer and a slice of the game, but that showed the character moving through the books into a 3D world and looked like it was a fair way along. Yeah, close you. So Nightingale seems fairly likely we'll see it there. They have that relationship clearly. Devolver, Plucky Squire's Devolver. Do you want to see a Plucky Squire trailer again? It got quite a little flurry of attention because the trailer was cool. I do remember that one well enough. The Plucky Squire announcement trailer on the Nintendo Switch. Let's do that. Nintendo Switch, the potato version. You can just about read that's Sam's room. Resolution's holding it. Actually, this doesn't look anything like a Switch game, clearly. So this is the CGI trailer, and I'm just a slight bit trolly. But now is the game. Probably. Yeah. I like a charming art style, but this one's most impressive elements are when it takes that art style that you've already become accustomed to and gone, oh, this looks cool. And then it's actually, there's proper game here as well. Like more conventional. This bit, whoa! You're not a Switch version, liars. They're not trustworthy. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see more of that. Like, looks really good. And on that, was there anything else that I had lined up to talk about today? Or are we wrapping up nice and early? That has a Game of the Year contender look to it. Yeah, if it definitely has It Takes Two vibes. If they can nail the same kind of... so that the best thing about It Takes Two, obviously it was entirely co-op, which adds a lot to it in a sense. That playing things with other people is way fun. But it also had quite magical pacing in the way that it would introduce a mechanic and keep it for the exact right amount of time before introducing another one and just keeping it fresh the whole way through. The Plucky Squire little trailer there definitely suggests that it is following the same route. If they can get the pacing right, then yeah, why not? Why not a Game of the Year? Video games, that's a topic. That's a topic indeed. I have many long ones to try and get through. I've got Tales of Arise and Deerfield Chronicles and Ollie Ollie World, which is not long necessarily. But I am on a virtual reality craze, and I am going to get on my Quest Pro and stand on my treadmill and get some Blade and Sorcery going as a test. So one of the things that the Quest Pro has over previous VR headsets is perfect tracking of the hands. So I can fight people behind me, like stab, 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 and it'll work, which is gonna be a fine way to fight. No, generally, perfect tracking should help in a lot of ways when I'm playing through my Skyrim and stuff. Oh, I'm excited to try that. Quarry is still going to carry on Sundays. I don't know, some of you have been around. The Quarry has picked up. So I had like 5 parts of the Quarry, and the first 4 episodes I thought were fairly boring, unfortunately. And then towards the end of episode 4, or part 4, whatever you want to call it, when characters started dying, things got a lot better. And then the 5th one, so the one that I did on the Sunday just gone, oh, there were heads flying everywhere. It was brilliant. Apart from the fact that it was so dark that nobody could really see what was going on. There's not that many characters left alive, so that'll probably wrap up soon. And we can move on to As Dusk Falls is my next Sunday story game. So I'm trying to... My YouTube channel, I never really know what to do with it, but I'm trying to refocus it slightly on certain things that are hopefully more entertaining than just playing normal games that everybody has. One of those things is running around on the treadmill with the VR, because that's quite an elaborate setup that I find, because I enjoy it so much, it's usually pretty funny to watch back. So hopefully those will be entertaining. I'm going to try and focus my pancake streams on things that involve more people, so co-op and stuff like that, with the Sunday ones being story time. But I'm going to try not to stream everything that I play. I don't know, it's really difficult actually. It's really difficult to decide what to do with that. What's worth it? What do people enjoy? What do I enjoy? I figure it out as I go along. But I think we're going to shoot for the shortest ever Q&Asa and start to wrap it up here. Question. Question. Does Wild Heart have the potential to dethrone Monster Hunter in its space? No, it doesn't. Monster Hunter's huge. But let's have a look at the Wild Heart trailer. Wild Heart trailer. Finding. There's the reveal trailer, but I don't want to go to IGN or GameSpot because we don't need your stupid watermark, pricks. Oh, watermark, so frustrating. Right. Question for you, like, related question. Do you like Monster Hunter? Are you a Monster Hunter player? That's not the whole trailer. Show me more. Here we go. I wanted to like Monster Hunter. The only one that I played is Monster Hunter World. I've not played any of the Nintendo ones or whatever. Monster Hunter World though, I tried to play on the Xbox. And I like... Conceptually it was like, oh, this is going to be the new Final Fantasy Online that I liked on the Dreamcast. I'm going to play this, I'm going to hunt monsters, and it's going to be fun. But I didn't really get along with the combat. And at that point in time, I hadn't played any Souls games or anything else that's like that slower, more methodical kind of combat. But Monster Hunter World's combat felt janky. Everything was slow and cumbersome. The ranged weapons were not very ranged. And it just was a bit weird. This doesn't look great. Trailer's poor quality though. I'm not holding that against the game. Let's see what's going on. Why is the trailer looking so shit? Trailer's looking so shit because it's a shit quality trailer. Okay, that's fine. Get the impression that there's plenty of detail available, but they didn't include it in the trailer. They've gone for sub-Twitch quality of upload. Yum, stomp, stomp, stomp. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to say no. I think Monster Hunter World, or Monster Hunter as a series, I think they are making a new one for the proper consoles as well, aren't they? I think that will retain its place as a ridiculously well-selling series. This one, I'm not ready to say that it's even going to be good yet. I'm not going to say that it's going to be bad either, but I'm very mixed on that trailer. Wasn't a good trailer, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a good trailer. You need to learn different movesets to enjoy it properly. So when I played throwing around a giant hammer twice the size of you, that's all games. You can always do that. You liked World, but you refused to use Nintendo's stupid joysticks. Yep, same. Everything about Nintendo I kind of steer clear of, which isn't strictly true. And I will say again, I'm a secret closet Nintendo fan for the games catalogue that they have these days. Like, the Switch has a ridiculously good catalogue every time that I think about it. Every year for the last 2 years or something, they've just had like game on game on game on game on game that I'd like to play if they were on proper hardware. As it happens, I literally haven't used the Switch since I threw it over my shoulder for the intro to Go Live. I've literally not used the Switch since then. The only game that I've played on it is Fire Emblem Three Houses before that. I'd like to play Bayonetta 3. I'd like to play Triangle Strategy, which is on the PC now. Woohoo! I'd like to play Bravely Default 2, which is also on the PC now. Woohoo! I'd like to play Astral Chain, and I'd like to play the Musou games that they've got, the Hyrule Warriors and things like that. But these are all things that I would play if they were on proper systems. But the Switch is just a turd. Splatoon. I'd like to play Splatoon 3. That's another one. I will say that none of the games that I just mentioned there, all of these Nintendo games that I want to play, none of them feature the supposed plumber character. I have to do the quotation there because he's not a character. Not a single Nintendo game with that in appeals, which isn't strictly true actually. I'd play a little bit of Mario Kart potentially, but not because Mario's in it. Shit character. You're spicy. It's the sticks that do you in. They use the worst thumbsticks, especially on the light. So I have a terrible third-party Switch controller, and obviously the Joy-Con. I don't understand the Joy-Cons, how anyone can use them, but... And that's before they keep breaking. What do I think of Evil West? There's a good question. So... I don't have an answer. But it was a good question. You tell me though, has anybody here played Evil West? So Evil West got... People were fairly excited for it. It looks really cool. Let's bring up some Evil West. It looks cool, and it does look cool. And people got a little concerned by like performance metrics before it came out. Evil West trailer. Launch trailer, Focus Entertainment. Perfect. So here's Evil West. Let's give this one the full screen. It looks a lot of fun, and the gameplay clips that I've seen of it look a lot of fun. The only reason that I haven't played it yet is like this is really expensive, so I'm not buying any games for a little while. Not buying any games for a little while. But Evil West looked fun in the run-up to launch. Like, it's been on my radar for a long time. And now that it's out, I can't really afford to play it. If I did play it, all these performance concerns wouldn't be a big issue, because obviously I could just play it on the PC. But it is a game that heavily supports co-op, so really I'd have to get it where people are playing. Very much in old school style, like Gungrave Gore, that everyone says is terrible. No, you mean it in a good way. You haven't played it, but it looks amazing. You're going to buy it when it's on sale. Yeah. Acid Flare, when they bother optimizing it is when you will, when they bother to optimize it is when you will buy it. If they can't be asked, then neither can you. Yeah, like, I get that it's disappointing. From what I hear of people that have played it on the consoles, you do have to make a choice between slideshow or blur. Like the 1080p mode isn't gorgeous. Kratos, grab your coffee, but I am rounding up, so yeah, I'll still be here when you get back. It always goes on a little bit longer than I expect. So yeah, you do get the impression, particularly when you look at the PC version and like the specs required to hit certain performance targets, you think that both the consoles can do better than they are right now. So you're going to choose option 3, play something else. And like I say though, for me that's not a massive concern, because I can just get it on the PC and run it at its best. I do still have it's not a top of the line PC anymore, but it's still well fancy enough to play that. So, but I just want to live in virtual reality at the moment and not spend any money at the moment. I don't know though, like, performance issues aside, it looked fun, didn't it? Looks like a good game. 30 frames per second on the Series S is a joke. Is it? I can't remember the Series S performance profiles. Is that the only choice on the Series S? 30 frames per second or nothing. It's not the first game to do that, but it is a nasty choice, yeah. I know a lot of people were disappointed with the Series X and PlayStation 5 profiles there as well. Are you a primarily Series S player? And how do you enjoy it? Do you find much trouble with the storage space? That's the trouble I have with the S mostly. I like the console and I can play. Like, it's not like the Switch where everything looks terrible. Series S games actually look really good, but... Oh, has anyone played Battlefield? That's a game that looks good on the Series S and on the Series X, and is actually a good game now. X for you and S for your son. Yeah, I've got a similar... my kids have got the Series S and I can't get them to touch it. One of them does a little bit, the other one doesn't. But they do have like issues with that storage space if they do decide to try and play a few games. But yeah, Battlefield landed on Game Pass as anticipated. Your Series S has a 2 TB hard drive, that'll do it. Yes, Glug. Yes, Glug. Little bit. Today's drink is some kind of gin and tonic. I'm sworn off late coffee at the moment, because I am sworn on to early bedtimes, being all responsible and trying to get enough money to buy new toys. It's fantastic. Just juggle between internal and external. I see. You've got a 2 TB external USB drive to push things in and out of. Did I give up on the big boy juice? No, I haven't given up on I've still got 3 more whiskies to try. When you did drink, you drank a good cognac. I'm trying to get that sophisticated palate at the moment, which is why I've got my little sample box of whiskies to try and become a grown-up. But no, I'm not sure it's ever going to happen. But I will try. It's all good if you have good internet. 500 down makes it easy for you to download games, but you've got 3 TB of space for games anyway on PC. And 12 TB to just store when you're not playing. So I don't have good internet. I live in a silly little village. I've got the best internet in the village, but not that good, which is really frustrating. If I had like city internet, oh, I'd be doing so much uploading, probably, maybe. Forza on Series S at 24-inch 1440p screen compares well to the X on a 55. Yeah, that's the thing a lot of people forget. The density of pixels is very different on a small screen to a big one. Which is why I like, so the 4K TV that I use, I've not got a particularly good TV. All of my investment into playing hardware is usually focused on what makes for a good viewing experience for streaming and stuff like that. So my TV is like the weakest link. It's not a brilliant TV, but it is only 42 inches, and the replacement TV I want, if I ever get there, I want a 42-inch OLED TV that I sit relatively close to, and I would prefer that over a bigger OLED. Pixel density is king ahead of size. It's quite a lot. Yep. So even when you played on the Xbox and PlayStation, you always played on monitors anyway. I also find, so I prefer to use a monitor for competitive games. I've got my PC and my consoles are all like together so that I can use them interchangeably. And I find particularly like a first-person shooter or something, if I'm playing competitively, it's much easier to absorb information on a smaller screen. If the game's got like a map or something. If the game's got a map on a TV, I pretty much never glance that corner. I find it much easier on a monitor. Which is why I'm so good at competitive games. I never play competitive games anymore really, but if I did, definitely would be on a monitor. Anyway, I think if you'll forgive me, that's probably the end. Overwatch, Mercy main. I do like a bit of Mercy on Overwatch. So AJH, I haven't played it since then. It has been my plan. I still like Overwatch 2. JT turned up for that one stream, and he's not come back since. But if we played it again, and I will play it again, missing Tony Okami wants to play Overwatch 2 as well. And I would play Mercy, but I'll try the other characters as well. Good game. Who? I scared him. It wasn't me, Isla. Don't know. Assuming that you're talking to me when you say you, I definitely didn't scare anyone. Like, much. It's a good game. You just have other things to play. Yes, AGH. So much to play. So much to play. You were late, Asiflare. Oh, you missed the best bit. The start was the best bit, probably. Can't even remember the start. It was ages ago. But yes, please, if you haven't already, caress the like button, smash the like button, tap the like button. I don't mind how you do it. Just make it light up. Would be really helpful. If you're watching after the fact, leave a little comment, ask your questions. I will take them. There will be another Q&Asa next Thursday, and we'll talk about everything that comes in then. In the meantime, I am going to unbox my Quest Pro and put it on my face, and I'm going to be so happy. Hopefully all of you will have days and evenings as good as I'm going to have. Thank you for coming along. I'm not going to film it. It's too much effort. I'm just going to stick it on my face and have a good time. And I will catch you all soon. Oh, John, welcome. And